He was drunk. He followed me and he assaulted me. When she entered the house, that house, she just, upon seeing what's happening, she fainted. Nobody has ever from that family asked me how I feel about that night. Nobody asked me, how are you? How do you feel emotionally, physically? Do you even understand what happened? Nobody until today. That is in 2007. I don't know my birth dates. I don't know my birth year. I don't know my birth month. I cooked the whole thing. When I was applying for KCPE, Lynn, nilifanyua meeting home. Make sure not to use the family name. And that's why I picked on who. And now they fed into me, babangu alikuwa anaitwa Kamau. So it was a constant reminder, you don't belong here. You are not part of this family. In fact, you are not a child. I think sometimes we are conditioned to owe people a thank you. But the people you owe a thank you can be a point of trauma for you. Sometimes you just have to take the highway and never look back. So it's not that I'm ungrateful. I am grateful because whatever I went through, yes, it has set me up in a way that I can't imagine. And it is because of all those experiences that I am who I am today. I've always thought like I'll have voice, but I didn't know to what extent. And that people, the fact that people receive my content is what amazes me. Mi naeza kaa nipate tu hivi thought, nichukue simu yangu nijirecord na ni-upload. It is purely my thoughts. But people receive it with so much love and they relate. Kwanza unajua the fact that people relate. I'm like, oh, so I'm not living in an illusion.
Very good morning to you and a warm welcome to LNS Rebuilding series. My name is Lynn Ngugi. Now, if you do not know my guest today, then I want to send you to a panel discussion we had, and the love you guys have for her is crazy. You say she's authentic, she's human, she's all things that we've been at some point. And I was just going through the comments and I said, why don't I invite Lydia? Because I know there is a lot of things to her story, so that she can be able to walk us through her story and also tell us how she's rebuilding at this point of her life. And of course, to say thank you to you guys, 700 plus subscribers. I am so honored. Tumefunga mwaka vizuri. Continue subscribing. And now, without further ado, please allow me to let my guest today reintroduce herself. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Lynn.
Hi babe, how are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
How are you feeling?
Overwhelmed?
Why?
I don't know. First of all, your people gave me so much love through the last video we did.
Yes.
And hey, it was a whole love bombing situation, but I'm so grateful. I appreciate walikuja huko Instagram.
Yeah.
They came to my YouTube channel.
Yes.
I finally got to reach 200K subscribers. And we have a lot of content lined up for them. So
I am so happy for you. I'm so happy. We'll go deeper into this. But for the people who are tuning in for the first time, please introduce yourself.
My name is Lydia Wanjiru. I'm a business lady, an entrepreneur, a farmer, and now a content creator.
Yes.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
How did it feel getting people loving you through the comments, saying what caught my attention is Lydia is real. She's talking about things that we've gone through at some point. Were you expecting that kind of feedback?
Somehow, yes.
Okay.
Because I've put on so much work in myself to be as authentic as I can, to be as real and as open as I can. And you know me niko kwa ground. So when I speak for myself and for the people at the ground.
When you are kwa ground.
So to see that effort appreciated, it just reassures me that I'm on the right path and I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So
And we're about to get deeper into your story. I want to understand, who is Lydia? What has she been through? How is she rebuilding her life right now? But before that, skincare routine.
Kukunywa maji na kushukuru Mungu.
jamani, na tushukuru.
Na to mind our business.
And we mind our business, you know. You are so gorgeous, man.
Thank you.
But you get
Thank
that a lot, right?
I do. Now, honestly, I've never had a bad skin.
Okay.
Ile bad. Ni ile tu I used to be dark.
Yes.
So ni ile tu kutengeneza for the glow.
Yeah.
Hakuna kitu different ati nimeifanyia. Ama sijui from ajani nini. Ni Mungu tu.
Na
kuna
maji?
vitu zingine Mungu ametusaidia tu. Like, haizi kunyima kila kitu. Anakunyima hii, anakupea hii. He balances. Yes.
Now, the series that we are in right now, it's dubbed Rebuilding. So maybe to kickstart, what are you rebuilding in your life?
Am I rebuilding or building literally?
Good. We said we are building and rebuilding at the same time. What are we building now?
My self-awareness of the things that I've been through, of the things that I want to put on the past, and the things that give me trauma, you know, because sometimes the things happen in future and you're like, oh, I'm familiar with this situation, I'm familiar with this pain, I'm familiar with this kind of hurt. So I don't want to go carry all that burden into the future with pain and wounds. Nataka zihil, hata ni when I get into such a situation, like I'm reminded of it reminds me of something, I'm able to be fully 100% present, but it won't affect the outcome.
The outcome. You are doing the inner work.
I'm doing the inner work, and I am so focused on it.
Yes. Where does your strength come from?
Oh my God. I think it comes from the fact that I want so much for myself, and I'm the type that don't give up. Mostly my strength comes from God and my sister. Each time I'm with my sister, she's like, I didn't know you could be this. I didn't know you could be this passionate. I didn't know you could want so much for yourself, yet you have a point of resource. You know the way people say, when something right now life fails, God forbid for you, Lynn, maybe you have a family member, ama some family relatives that can hold you back together. They can come through for you. For me, I don't. So I have to be my own strength, plus God in it, and knowing where I've come from and looking into the future. There is no plan B. It's A, and if it fails, you sleep crying. Tomorrow you wake up in the morning, you continue. There is no resting.
I love that.
There is no resting. There is no plan B.
There is no plan B. Allow me to take you back to your story. You know, when I asked you, Lyd, could you come and just tell us what you've been through? And you sent me a brief of your story. I read it and I could not believe this is the same Lydia I was with during that panel discussion. So from a point that you are comfortable in, if you could take us back to where you are right now, to this phase of your life that you are heavy on building. So
I was born in 1994 or 1993 or 1992. I don't know. I will come to that. I was born in Olkalau, and before I knew it, we were in Eldoret. I keep being told I was born in Olkalau. I don't know. So my mom died in 2002. I've never known my father. I've never seen him. He was probably a donor and left. So I don't know anything about my father's side. I don't know how he looks like. I don't know if he's a Kenyan or not. So when before my mom died, we are a family of three. I'm sorry. I have an older brother, John Mwangi, that I haven't seen from 2006. And then he's followed by my sister, Ruth Njeri, and then me, I'm the last born. So before my mom died, when we were living in Eldoret, she took us, me, my sister, and her, she took us to my grandmother in Nakuru. Now, this is not my real grandmother. She is the step-sister to my mom's mother. My mom's mother and the grandmother in Nakuru's mother, they shared the same father. So she was a step-sister. So my mom had left her home earlier in Nyeri because they had a fallout with her mom. So they kind of just parted ways. So when she started ailing, she went and asked now the grandmother that raised me, if anything happens to me, would you be able to take care of my young child? Now that is me. My grandmother in Nakuru said, yes, no problem. And I think she didn't know what she signed up for, because months later my mom passed on. They came to now Eldoret, they buried her, and they now came back with me to Nakuru. That is in 2002 August. My mom died 14th August 2002. So new family, new environment. I don't know anyone. I was in class 2. I was taken to Kiamaina Primary School in Nakuru. It's in Mailisita, in Gashura constituency, I think. And after that, I just felt changes. You know, you're still a child, and it is not easy to take a child from what they are used to a new environment. And all of a sudden, changes came in, Lynn. I used to have blowout, like, I don't know if you can remember the hairstyle? The wet and curly hairstyle.
Yeah.
Because my mom had taken me to a private school. So that was allowed. But now I've come to a public school, so that has to go. And now when duties started coming in, you have to wash utensils, you have to wash the house, you have to take care of the people around. I had a younger cousin, now one of the family's child, and he was going to a private school, and I would wake up early to prepare him to school, prepare his bathing water, clothe him, prepare his tea, prepare his snacks. He used to carry snacks for break time. Me, Lynn, nobody would even ask, like, what are you going to eat for lunch? What are you going to eat for break time? No, chukue bag uende shule. And there were so many changes. At night, I would sleep with a knife under my pillow, because I want my mom. My mom's picture. I had my mom's picture. It would be under the pillow. I would cry so much because there were things I would have wanted, but they were not available. Example, when I go to school without food and seeing other kids eating, when it's break time or lunch time, they would open their tins to eat. You know, people carry food to school. That is normal. Yeah. But nobody prepared you in the morning. So you are like, what do I do? So you have to eat other people's food. The teacher noticed that, and they just talk to other kids. Share with Lydia, share with Lydia, and that's okay. So again, when it comes to being bought for clothes, Mimi Lynn, I can't remember any particular time except on December's that someone from the family alikuja na nguo hivi mpya akasema hii ni yako Lydia. Akakuja hata na panty. Akasema hii ni yako Lydia. And remember, you are a girl child. When it really dawned on me what was happening, I was in class 6 when I started my periods. I went to bed that night. My stomach was aching. I didn't understand what it is, only to wake up in the morning to a mess. I don't know what this is. I've never seen it. I'm trying to touch the whole of my body to understand wapi nimekatwa kwenye whatever mess is coming from. Hakuna cuts. And now we had a house girl. House girl used to come and go because the environment was too toxic for even house girls kukaa sana. So they would even, wengine atakuwa wamaliza hata 2 weeks wanaenda. But luckily that day kulikuwa na house girl. Aka notice, na nilikuwa nafaa kwenda shule. So aka notice, I've made a mess. And she was like, oh, ini normal. She gave me her handkerchief. Because me and her, nobody has the courage to go approach my grandmother to mwambie this is the situation. Maybe buy, what sanitary is needed, sanitary towels. So she gave me her handkerchief, and then me, I had a bathing towel and the rest of my 2 panties. So ndizo nilikuwa natumia. The whole of that year, until I went to boarding school in class 7, Baringo in Etoloruk Primary School. And when we were shopping for my boarding, that's when my grandmother realized I took the sanitary towels kwa trolley. That's when she was like, ulianza, oh, okay. And that was it. Like, there's no conversation. How do you do it? When did you start? What have you been using? Hakuna. It's, okay. And it is one packet. I had picked 2 packets. And she's like, hapana, unatumianga kamoja mchana, kamoja usiku. There is no conversation like how deep is, how heavy it is. You know, we are girls, like you can tell how much, how many times you're supposed to use per day. So that was the conversation. Now, when I was in class 7, there was post-election violence in 2007. And you remember I was in boarding school in Baringo, in Itoloruk Primary School. So I couldn't go back to that school because of the election violence. I remember that time when the violence erupted. One of my uncle, now the family's child, one of the child in the family, he came from Eldoret with his wife. And you know, hizo nyumba za ushago, there is always that outside house for men. So when he came, nikambiwa, Lydia, go dust the house for him, mtengeneze kitanda nini, and he was drunk. He followed me and he assaulted me. And luckily, before it went too far, his wife came to check the commotion, to check, maybe she was coming to check how I've prepared for his husband, the bed, nini, the house, if I've dusted enough. And when she entered the house, that house, she just, upon seeing what's happening, she fainted. Lynn, nobody has ever from that family asked me how I feel about that night. Nobody asked me, how are you? How do you feel emotionally, physically? Do you even understand what happened? Nobody until today. That is in 2007. No one has ever asked me. And it went, luckily, the situation had not gone far, so there was no control damage. The issue was never spoke about. No one has ever spoken about it, but they did a very huge meeting some days later because their worry was the wife, what she had witnessed, and in case how she wants to proceed with the issue, you know, and her not talking about it to maybe her family, you know, control damage, because let's keep it here. It's for her. It wasn't about who it was done to.
It was for her.
For her. I didn't understand, Lynn, what was happening. Me, the only thing I remember, but until I realized what happened years later when I was in 4-4, I'll come to that. All I could ask for is some painkiller, because, you know, me, I've always been a fat girl. I've always had this big body. So to have it stretched like that is something that you have to feel pain. So me, I was more worried about the physical pain. Nothing else could occur in my mind, what this has happened. So I finished class 8 in Kiamaina Primary School. I went to boarding school. I didn't pass well in class 8 because I think there was a lot happening around me. I got, 264 points. Then they got me a school in Naivasha. It's called St. Francis Xavier. I was admitted. Then in Form 3 second term, there was a function. No, you know, my teenage years have started hitting. What is called adolescence. Imeanza kuhit nini. There was a school function in the school, and one of the girls, it was a girls' school. One of the girls told me, ethanol from the lab is alcohol. It can be drunk and you can get high. What did we do?
You drank it.
No, we stole ethanol from our school laboratory and we started selling it to other students. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's bad. And I was caught, me. And even I'm not the one who stole, by the way. I'm not the one who stole ethanol from the lab. Mili nililetewa. Ndoto tuchupa. Enda uuze hivi, tutauza hivi. And I was caught. And sasa mimi naye, I've never been the type to snitch. Mimi venye nilishikwa ni mimi peke yangu niliexpeliwa, shosho yangu akapigiwa simu. That time I remember that day nililala kwa principal's office. I was separated completely kabisa with the school. Nikaika mattress yangu kwa principal's office na my box nikalala hapo. But you know, there was something I had been fighting for that time, for like 2 years. Yes. Lynn, umeingia shule form 1. Umenunuliwa whole school uniform. People have shoes, bikers, petticoats, school uniform, nini. And you are growing. So you will outgrow, like within a year, mtoto who outgrow kiatu, ama kiuno inakuwa ndogo, ama inakuwa kubwa. And I could see other students coming in with new things almost every other term. Mimi kiatu yangu imeanza kunifinya. My legs, because Naivasha is very cold. The school is in Naivasha. It's very cold. It's very windy at night. My legs just swell. So sina kiatu ya kuvaa na vaa sandals. The rest of the school wanavaa viatu. Mimi am on socks and sandals. Hizi socks zimeturn color because zijawai nunuliwa zingine from form 1 nikiadmitiwa. And when I ask for them at home, unaambiwa ulienda shule kusoma ama ni kuspend pesa. But kiatu inakufinya Lynn, skirt inakufinya kwa kiuno, like you. So there was a lot I was battling with. Ukitisha kitabu fulani uwezi nunuliwa. So it was like this whole situation ya kuexpeliwa, it was like resistance from something. So mimi nikaexpeliwa shule, nikakujiwa, nikatumiwa other family members, nikakujiwa, nikapelekwa, nikatafutiwa shule ingine inaitwa Goshen High School. I think right now it is now there is a boys school, there is a girls school. Now then it was a mixed school. Boys and girls, boarding and day. Sasa huko ndiko sasa everything erupted. Me, Lynn, I stopped learning. I would be in class just looking at the teacher. Anafunza hapo mbele. I don't write notes. I don't do assignments. I only do exams. And guess what? In a class of like almost 200 students, I was always top 10. And my boarding mistress noted it. Kila saa nilikuwa staff room napigwa. Lydia ana notes. Hajafanya assignment.
Lydia.
And she was still my CRE teacher. She was my CRE teacher and she was the boarding mistress. She's called Madam Lois. I think she's an MCA in Nakuru. So Madam Lois asked me, one day in Form 4 second term, she started getting closer to me and she hated me. I remember she used to hate me. Hated kabisa. But I guess she could tell there was something wrong. How come Lydia na pass exams? Even teachers started asking, how come Lydia na pass exams? But
she doesn't
do assignments, she doesn't have notes, she doesn't have books. And when it comes to closing day, Lynn, mimi nilikuwa natoka shule saa 10. You know the way, if you went to boarding school, watu wakuwa wanalala.
Early in the morning.
Your bag is ready. Everything is ready. And you just want to go out.
You just want to go home.
Me, I'm in bed sleeping. Saa 4, saa 5 mwenye shule watu wa karibu wanaisha, mimi nalala. Lynn, where are you going? Where are you going? Ni kuenda kazi kukua house girl. Kuosha nyumba. My grandmother's house is an 8-bedroomed house. This is one of the most richest families in Nakuru. Ni venye siwezi taja jina. Them and Moi family
together.
They were friends. So you can imagine the kind of wealth they tapped into. Buildings, estates in Nakuru, zile high-end places, they own these things. And in one conversation, in some meetings, walikuwa wanafanya home because they have a lot of businesses. So like once a month, walikuwa wanakujanga, the children walikuwa wanakujanga home, wanafanya meetings because of kugawana, nini estates, nini, like it's a meeting too. And one day I heard them say this. I had heard it earlier when I was in primary school, but siku comprehend what they mean. So their plan was only for me to go up to Form 4 level. That's like their help would reach there. So mimi all along history ya kukua manga in high school and everything, I knew after school I'm not going anywhere. Sasa unaniambia nifanye assignment as a teacher. For what? How is this assignment going to help me in my future? Lynn, I remember at some point in school, I was in school, one of my aunts gave birth in Kisumu. She didn't have a house girl. Do you know nilikujua shule wakadanganya kwa ofisi that there's an emergency at home and I'm needed. Lynn nilienda kukua house girl to my aunt mwenye amezaa for 2 months. Nilikosa almost a whole term. Nilirudi kufanya exams. Yani, and this family, Lynn wako na watoto wengi. Almost everyone has a child. When these kids close school, Lynn hata wakiamka at least saa 3 juu they almost all walikuwa kama boarding school. Tulikuwa almost sisi wote tuko boarding school. But somehow mimi ndio ni kama boarding school yangu ikuwa boarding school because I have to be up by 5:30 ama 6, prepare breakfast, clean the house. I've told you it's an 8-bedroomed house. Sitting room ni kubwa. Iko na 3 sets of seats, couches. Iko juu na meza kama 5. It's a very big house. You have to clean all that house. Most of the time house girls walikuwa wanaona watoto wamekuja from holiday. Unajua venye watoto wanaenda kutembelea shosho yao. They run away. Asubuhi mnaamka house girl hayuko. Alienda. So nani house girl? You. Me. So we were in form 4. The teacher got close to me and somehow I opened up to her. She's the first person nishaiambia historia yote. Akaniuliza wewe mbona watoto wakifunga shule? People are excited to go home. Why are you not excited to go home? I was like, naenda kufanya kazi. The first thing neke bag hivi chini. Enda angalia kama kuku ziko na maji. Enda angalia hii, enda fanya hivi. Osha, I think nimekuja kushuka nywele after I think from 2013 because I finished high school in 2012. My head was sensitive, my scalp juu ya kupigwa. Lini unapigwa ni kama someone wants to kill you, they bang you on the wall. And I remember one time nilipigwa until nikatoroka. I went to the chief, nikamwambia mimi not chief. No, not chief. I wanted to go to the chief, nikakutana na a family friend, neighbor wa hiyo area. Akanuza unaenda wapi? Nikamwambia mimi nimepigwa because there was money ilikuwa imepotea home. Okay, my sister had come to visit me in 2002. 2006. When my sister came, my grandmother lost 16,000 in the house. This story nilijua 2017 when we reunited with my sister, the exact thing that had happened. Kumbe hiyo pesa venye ilipotea, mimi shosho yangu alinipiga sana, akidhani ni mimi nimeiba. And my sister, I remember that morning, alikuwa travel back to Eldoret from coming to see me. Tulikuwa tumeka whole week na kwa shosho yangu. Kumbe mimi venye nilienda shule, walifikia sister yangu kwa barabara na kapelekwa police station. Ati wewe na sister yako nao mi tumeiba 16,000. My sister was frisked, mizigo zake zikafunguanishwa, kutafutwa 16,000. Akupatikana nayo. Mimi na hivi nilitoka shule, Lynn, I was beaten black and blue. Kisa na maana 16,000. Na waniambia sister yangu ako wapi? Ako jela. Sister yangu ilibidi after amekaa week, polisi wa hiyo place wakaona, hii familia, I think they just want to frustrate this girl. Na hana hii pesa. Lynn, you have been stripped naked. Vitu zako zimefunguanishwa, M-Pesa balance yako imeangaliwa. Wakachukua mpaka statement ya kuangalia kama maybe alitransactia mtu. Hakuna. So the police wakamrelease, wakamwambia fanya aje. Unaona ni kama wataki ukuange ukienda huko because they already feel like wanasaidia sister yako. Fanya aje wewe tu enda ngojea asomeshwe, akikuwa mkubwa mtapata. By the way, my sister never came back again from 2006. Even my brother wali disappear. My sister alienda 2017 kwa shosho yangu kunitafuta. Because she know then nimemaliza shule. I think simaliza 2012 high school. I think alinipea some more years akidhani nimepelekwa campus. So akaenda akafika si huko, akakuta kazini yangu. Shosho yangu anampeleka na anamwambia lazima kwanza tukae chini tuongee ndio nikupe namba ya Lydia. And then I think alikuwa tina chama. Alikuwa na mama wa chama kwa nyumba. So she was a bit busy. One of my cousins akamwambia unataka namba ya Lydia? he went and stole my number from my grandmother's phone. Akanipatia, akanipigia. It was a Sunday. I'll never forget that call. My sister alimpigia akaniambia ni Njeri. Namza Njeri gani? I was at work. I was working as a waitress then. Ni Njeri mgani? Sister yako. Oh, Lynn, my heart just dropped to my stomach. For almost 11 years, I had never heard from her. Nikamwambia uko wapi? Nikamwambia niko kwa shosho. Nikamwambia toka. Nipe 2 hours nitakuwa nimefika. I was in Nairobi. Nipe 2 hours nitakuwa nimefika Nakuru. Lynn, mpaka nikiongea, I could literally see when we met, me and my sister, and we were so happy. So that, let's come back again. I spoke with my boarding mistress, Madam Lois. Kamwambia, this is what is happening. And when she heard what had happened in 2007, now she at least got a grip of what was happening. And maybe it is a situation I was fighting. And now she is the one who made me aware of what happened. And from then, uzuri wangu, Lynn, I'm not the type that leans on pain. I'll just remember it, but it won't hinder me from anything. Somehow it is traumatic, but it doesn't like stop me from going forward. But at least Madam Lois understood what I was going through, and she became my friend. And even I remember when we opened school, because shopping yenye nilikuwa nafanyiwa ata steel pads, tuseme sabuni, it was an open school that you can come with foodstuffs. Watu wanakuja na 5 liter juice, a box of biscuits, juu kama ushaikuwa in such situation, wanakuja na blue band, wanakuja na chocolate, githeri unaweza ongeza ka blue band, because again the place was cold, ilikuwa karibu Dondori. So you know that area, it's cold. Kabatini huko juu Nakuru, that place is cold. So hata shule ilikuwa ina advise kama mzazi ununulie mtoto wako chocolate, hizo majani, at least tukitoka prep, jioni preps, ulikuwa unapitia jikoni unapewa maji moto, you go with it to the dorm, una mix ka chocolate, unakunywa, mwili inapata joto, unalala. Lynn, mimi niko nayo. So, but I met an amazing bedmate anaitwa Cynthia. Cynthia, we used to share her shopping yote. Madam Lois from then alikuwa na make sure jioni, mimi nikitoka preps, napitia kwake. Sikuwa kitu ni nyuma ya dom kidogo. Amepika, tutakula tena mimi na Cynthia, tutakunywa chai. Because my legs were swollen, Lynn. So she wanted like to somehow kunisaidia hiyo baridi itoke kwa mwili. But alikuwa na understand sina shopping. So Madam Lois from term 2 of my form 4, she stepped in like a parent. Hata ningeingianga tu shule watu jioni wa opening day, she would come, umekuja na nini? Aya sawa, tumia hizi zikisha, so you know where they are. Nyumba yake mpaka tulikuwa tunajua penye ameficha key. Me if I wanted something na maybe nimeanza periods na nini zangu zilisha,
you go get it.
Na pite tu staff room namwambia naenda kuchukua, niambia so unajua penye ziko, because she also had a small daughter. Anaitwa Karo, she works at Pass Live. So alikuwa amenunua hizo vitu zote. And she became a full blown mother. Mimi nimaliza form 4, linikalia. Because now I had gotten a parent that I don't have. Sasa naenda wapi? Now when it came to register for my KCSE, Lynn, that is when I realized by the way niko peke yangu. So the government had given out a law, unafaa kukuwa na birth certificate to register for your KCSE, to register for a national exam. Even I think it's from class 8, ama sijui nursery they used to do that. Lazima produce your birth certificate. Lynn, sina mzazi. Haya, so mimi nikatumwa nyumbani kuleta birth certificate to register for KCSE. Kufika nyumbani, I don't have any document. Sina mamangu, sina death certificate yake, sina birth certificate yangu, I don't know documents zangu somehow hazikuwa kwa traced. Sina ID. So shosho yangu akaniambia enda kwa chief umwambie akusaidie. Chief alikuwa rafiki yake. So akampigia tu simu akamwambia natuma Lydia kuja umsaidie kupata nini birth So chief akamwambia lazima mkuje na yeye juu kama ana apply for it, it has to be applied by a guardian, someone who has an ID, mtu mwenye ako in charge of yeye. My grandmother said no. Inamaanisha nikiapply na documents zangu, ID yake, it means I'm part of the family and I'm not. So chief akaambia wewe msaidie tu venye utawe. So chief ndio aanze kushughulika na mimi. So I have first of all to be an adult. Ndio nikuwe na ID, nijiapplyie death certificate ya mama yangu. Ndio death certificate ya mama yangu inisaidia kuapply for birth certificate. It was a whole month process. Lynn hakuna bahati, ofisi ya bahati ya DO, ya DC sijui. Because nilikuwa na camp there from morning to evening. So chief akaniapplyia ID. Nika-apply ID. Nipata waiting, nikaenda kuapply nayo death certificate ya mama yangu. Ndio death certificate itoke, nichukue now the birth certificate that I needed to take to school. Lynn, nobody, hakuna mtu alikuwa ananiuliza how far is the process, can we take you? Juu mimi maybe najulikana kidogo, can I take you to speed up the process? That's when I say, I don't know when I was born, I cooked my numbers, ndio zifit. Hiyo time nilikuwa na apply ID niko adult, 18 years. You get now? That's why I don't know my birth dates. I don't know my birth year. I don't know my birth month. I cooked the whole thing. My KCSE names and my KCP names, they are not the same. Because I used to hear babangu anaitwa Kamau, nili register KCP na Wanjiru L Kamau. Now I've come to KCSE, majina ni mbili, Lydia Wanjiru. So I always have an affidavit to show that Wanjiru L Kamau and Lydia Wanjiru is the same person. Awesome. Because now the documents don't have the same names. And every time, kwanza I remember when I was applying for KCPE, Lynn, nilifanyua meeting home. Make sure not to use the family name. And that's why I picked on who. And now they fed into me, babangu alikuwa anaitwa Kamau. Ndio nikienda kuapply, I use that name. Ni make sure nisijatumia jina ya familia. So it was a constant reminder, you don't belong here. You don't belong to part of this. You are not part of this family. In fact, you are not a child. You are an adult. Tukileta watoto wetu nyumbani, wewe ndio you are in charge of them. So when I finished Form 4, the uncle, the one, akaniita kwa chemist yake. He's a doctor, na alikuwa amefungua chemists. And I became the cashier. And then the chemist alikuwa amesplit. Inside bibi yake anauza cosmetics
the
and beauty.
Uncle.
Yes.
For that event.
Alikuwa amesplit hiyo shop. This side ni chemist and then this side ni beauty, mafuta, earrings, chains, vitu kama hizo. Hiyo ilikuwa side ya bibi yake. Yeye sasa na deal na pharmacy, chemist. And I became now the cashier for both shops and the cleaner. Na nilikuwa naishi kwa one of my aunts mwenye bado ako na mtoto. So niwende ufanye kazi za nyumbani jioni na asubuhi and then umeandikwa. And I was looking for money ya kwenda. Unaona venye watu wakimalizanga form 4 kitambo, people used to go for driving and computer. Yes. So mimi nilikuwa nataka kupelekwa computer. Juu at least nione kama nikipata hii knowledge ya computer itaniwezesha kupata kazi poa. So nikaambiwa maybe niandikwe na anko yangu, akasema atanilipanga 4,000 a month. Mimi hata shilingi sijaiona. Lynn, bibi yake at least ndiye alikuwa anashare na mimi lunch. And then sasa kwa kitabu kila jioni nilikuwa naandika 60 bob ya fare. Juu kuenda kwa huyo aunti yangu nilikuwa naishi na yeye ni 30 bob na asubuhi ni 30 bob. So kila siku walikuwa wameniambia niandikange kwa kitabu nachukua 60 shillings. So hata 10 bob extra hakuna. Hata uone kama ndazi usikie njaa uwezi ununua Lynn. Every time I wanted to eat, I would share with the wife food yake. So one particular time, I still had friends from high school. Kulikuwa na birthday ya one of them. It was on a Saturday. Lynn, sijui unaona venye umeona watu mlimaliza nao shule venye wameanza kuwa beautiful, wanavaa poa, nini, wameprogress. And you just want to feel like part of the group. Yeah. Mimi, I stole a ring from... I did not steal. I wanted to take it.
You borrowed.
I borrowed. Borrowed from the shop. Nikachukua ring. I just wanted to put it on. And then birthday ni Saturday, Sunday. Then Monday simi ndo nafunguanga shop either way. Narudisha. I think they noticed the ring was missing when we were closing the shop tukifanya mahesabu. Lynn, wacha ring itafutwe. Ring iko kwa mwili yangu. Nilikuwa nimeweka kwa kabra hapa hivi kando. Niko na ring.
Haki unanga bahati.
Sinanga bahati, sikwenye tu nimechukua. But although they had always said mimi ni mwizi. Now, kidogo turudi nyuma. In primary school nimekwambia mimi sikuwa nabeba chakula shule, sikuwa natayarishiwa tin. So at some point nilikuwa naiba 20 bob kwa bedroom ya shoshe yangu. Hiyo naye ni ukweli kabisa. Nilikuwa naiba. And to them I was this big thief. Ndio maana hata wakisema nimeiba hizi 16,000. Kwanza mtoto hata sahili ni mtoto mdogo umwekee 100 bob hapa na 20 bob hapa. Atachagua gani? 20 bob ndio watoto wanajuanga ni pesa. Hizi zingine makaratasi. Lynn, I used to steal coins za kuenda kununua lunch. Kwa shule yetu it was the primary school used to be a public school. Kuna wamama walikuwa wanapikanga shule githeri, maragwe na mchele. Kulikuwa na tuchipo twa 5 bob na 10 bob. So ukiwa na 20 bob utakula mchele na maragwe 10 bob na ununua hata kale ka ice cream ka 2 bob ama ka 5 bob kale sijuko unazijua colored ice cream za ice.
Ile iko na sukari tu ukianza kukula.
Sukari tu na kala.
And then that's it.
Ukinyonya inabaki barafu. Those ones. So Lynn, I used to steal coins. Hizo nazo ni ukweli. But somehow they thought I am a thief. Lynn, manti zangu walikuwa wanakujanga home. They are always aware of their kibeti.
Yes,
style. Yes, because they are dealing with a thief. And they would always say, you will never survive outside there. Wewe siku moja utapigwa na mawe na mob justice. You will not, we will give you even 2 to 3 years. It's been 11 years. Anyway. So, nikapatikana na pete. Lynn, nilipigwa na anko yangu na huyo bibi yake. Guy. Nilipigwa. And from that day, nikaenda hiyo bash. So, mimi naenda bash na nimesema sitarudi huko. Mimi siwezi rudi. Shosho yangu alipigiwa simu. Akasema, kama ni mwizi asirudi huku, hata tumemlea ya kutosha. All of them, they said like that. Huyu ni mtu mzima sasa, by the way. She's an adult, hata ako na ID. So, nikaenda birthday. Kwenda birthday, I knew there was no going back. Lynn, do you know I slept kwa kibanda fulani, Nakuru pale chini, panaitangu aje, I can't remember. Nilimlala 1 week kwa street. By then, nilikuwa na ka high school sweetheart. Tulikuwa tumemalizana na yeye shule. So, nilikuwa na kasimu kabambe. And nikapatanga mahali, nikachajiwango na watchman wa building yenye nilikuwa nalalanga kibanda hapo kwa gate. Akanichajianga hiyo simu hiyo siku. So the following day nikaasha simu. And the guy I think akajua nimeasha, akanipigia. Kwanza, kwani uko wapi? Nimekutafuta wiki mzima na kuja kuangalia kwa chemist na ambao yuko. Nikamwambia kwenye niko. This guy alinichukua, akaenda akaongelesha mama ya rafiki yake. Na rafiki yake walikuwa wameget so close. Akaambia mama, si usaidie, tulimaliza na yeye shule, familia yake ni kama wamekosana, si umsaidie. Lynn, huyo mama alinichukua tu. Nikakaa kwake over a month. Then shosho yangu, because still in the same Ngashura area ya Nakuru, watu wa church wakaanza kunia spotting kwa barabara. They went and asked my grandmother, na Lydia anaonekananga kwa boma fulani. Kwani kulienda aje? So shosho yangu akanitumanishia watu wa church wanikujie. Now imagine to be paraded, uliiba. So nianze kneel down kuomba msamaha. Lynn, nikarudi kidogo for I think a month or 2. Kurudi nikaona hapa sisaidiki tena, nimerudi ile type ya house girl. Hakuna progress hapa. Mimi nikatoroka. Nikaamua naona sasa nje ni kuenda kama nimeenda. Lynn, nikaingia nikapata job ya commission. Nilikuwa nazururisha mafuta za aloe vera. Nikapata job ya commission. Unauza mafuta ya 100, commission ni 20 bob.
20 bob.
So ni bidii yako utauza how many pieces of hizi mafuta ndio upate more money. And that place walikuwa na store. So kama una kwa kuenda unaweza lala huko. Mimi nilikuwa nalala hiyo place then a neighbor in that area wa hiyo plot, hiyo store ilikuwa kwa plot, ni nyumba tu wamekomboa, a 1 bedroom house wamekomboa tu kama store. So neighbor msichana fulani alikuwa anafanya kazi Java. Ulikuwa unafulia hapo nje. Nikamwambia, na unaendanga wapi kwa Smart TV? Just holding a conversation, umekaa nje, ni Sunday hatukuwa tunauza mafuta. Nikamwambia unaendanga wapi kazi cosmetics? Because hizi ni uniform za wapi? Akaniambia Java. Nikamwambia Java ni restaurant. Nikamwambia huko mnaweza pata hata kazi ya kuosha vyombo. Akaniambia but chukua hii email. Akaniandikia email ya Java. Akaniambia enda cyber utengeneze CV. Ambia mtu wa cyber kutengeneze CV. Hiyo CV unda-upload kwa hiyo email. Mimi Lynn nikatumanga CV. Mi kwa apply nikasahau wingi. 3 months later, mi bado nimeendelea na kazi yangu. But hiyo kazi nilido more than, I did it for more than a year. Mpaka nikapromotiwa to managerial position. I've always worked hard. Hata kama ni the list of the jobs, I've always worked hard. I had already gotten promoted. Nilikuwa na 10K mshahara. So, kama manager, ile ya asubuhi na prepare watu wanaenda field, unachukua, una write down, Lynn amebeba 20 bottles of oil, huyu amebeba hivi hivyo. So I was the manager. 3 months later, after nili apply ile kazi, napigiwa siku moja na namba. Hi, this is so and so from Java. You had applied for this and this. Are you ready for interview? Interview ni wapi Lynn? ABC place in Nairobi. Ni Deko. Niko Nakuru. Mimi Lynn, I was excited. Nilikuwa at least I think ka saving mahali 1500. Asubuhi nikaambia boss wangu kuna emergency imetokea nyumbani, wacha niende, I need to go. Sasa ni utoke asubuhi, interview ni kitu saa 3 saa 4. So ni utoke Nakuru 5. Msini 2 hours. Ushukie hapo ABC place. Nikafanya interview. Akaniambia they will contact me. Lynn, a week later, nikaambiwa ni report to Java Nakuru in Westside Mall. Report to this, we will have sent your documents hapo, watakureceive and you start your work. Nilipata kazi ya kuosha vyombo. Guess mshahara 17,000. And it's a company that has benefits, medical benefits. Java is really nice. I don't know if it is still nice, but it is a really good, it was a really good company to me. Unagonjeka, company stands in for you. Uko na medical nini cover. Mimi nikaanza kazi ya kuosha vyombo. It's called a steward position. Kuosha vyombo, panguza restaurant hivyo. And within 8 months nilikuwa nimepromotiwa Lynn to what? Waitress. Mshahara ni 20,000 lakini atawachana na mshahara. Tips. Lynn, I used to go home even with 10,000. Tips za Java ni mzuri. I remember saying nikeza shika it was a good job. Junior step up kabisa. Now when I became a waitress in Java, the family now wanted to start befriending me. My cousins wanakuja Java Westside Mall, tunakula keki, tunakunywa milkshake. Also Java there is a policy ya staff. Kama ni wewe maybe wageni wako your family, not that ukiwa shift, ukikuja na wageni wako,
zenye uko off.
Sasa zenye uko off, you get 30% off from. Kwani unajua?
See, I've worked in a restaurant.
It's really nice.
It is like that.
So you get like a 20 or 30% off from the total bill as a staff nini hivyo. So me nika cut. I cut that connection. Sasa tukaanza mambo ya fall in love. You remember my high school sweetheart? Bado tulikuwa naye that time. But he was in KU in campus, main campus hapa Nairobi. So he used to come visit on weekends. But somehow he got into alcohol and drugs. And tukaanza kutoelewana. Anataka mshahara yangu yeye ndiye anaipanga. Nilikuwa nimemove into from a single room of 1,500, nilikuwa nimemove into a bed sitter of 4,500. Area fulani inaitwa London, in Nakuru. London. Huko nao ni London. Lakini vumbi. But it was a middle class area na ilikuwa karibu na Java. So mimi nilikuwa kwa bed sitter kangu nimekafanish vizuri, nimenunua tule glass tables, sasa hizo glass tables zilikuwa zimeanza kukua in fashion. Hiyo meza ninunua 18,000. Sio mchezo. Don't see me. I bought an 18,000 table. Nikianza mshahara ya 20,000.
Kama ununue meza.
Yeah, I have to start. Imagine.
Okay, girl.
Ni bed sitter.
Go on.
Yeah, 4,500. So this guy ametoka KU one weekend. And I was at work. Jumlango ilikuwa ya mbao Lynn and he didn't have the key. Alikuja kama amebomoa. Sasa mimi natokea shift saa 3 za usiku. Mimi nakuta mlango wangu ina swing. I was like, kwani uniliibiwa? Kuingia hivi kwa stima, the guy is sat ameketi kwa floor, macho iko hivi, amekunywa. So unaona ukiasha light mtu ako hivi. Nilishtuka, nilipiga nduru. Nikajiuliza what's going on? Nikafunga mlango, nikaingia kama kwani ulitoka shule nini because nilikuwa nimeanza kucut.
Yes,
connection because now nimeona venye anaenda. Me by the way, I've never been into peer pressure. Unaona ati mwanze kukunywa hapa kama sija plan kukunywa, I won't. If you start doing funny if I had not willingly, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it, and I won't do it. So nikaona huyu tupelekane vizuri, but now because alinisaidia sana in the other part of my life, ile nilikuwa natoka home nini kutoroka, so I felt like I owe him. But that night, Lynn, the guy alinichapa. You know, there was someone is high from drugs, alikuwa anaweka kubera hapa drugs, and then anakunywa pombe tu 150. So he's high literally, and then he wants to force you to do some things, and you don't want. So alinichapa sana. But then when he finished akalala, mi kasema hapana, sitakufa. I took his phone, nikapigia baba yake sana 9 za usiku. His father came for him na tuk-tuk. Alipigwa. And from then, akamchukuliwa, and I've never seen him again. Only that right now, his desk mate is a senator. I won't say who. And tuliamua tukamtafuta like a month ago. Alipatikana. He was so much into alcohol. After that, I think walikosananga na babake. He didn't continue with school. Campus. Aliachanga. And he got deeper into the trenches of alcohol. A month ago tumempata, the friend senator mempeleka rehab. He's doing okay. Na tumiwango tupicha ni venye sasa ninaogopa tupatane because I don't know if I'm the reason he got deeper into it or what happened. But I don't want that connection right now. It's not even healthy. Maybe unless akitoka rehab. So venye tulikosana, mimi tena nikashikana. Sasa sasa mimi ni waitress. I am able to nimeoga, nimeanza kungara.
Tunaingia.
Napaka ka lipstick, napaka ka eye pencil. So I could able to attract better men. Mimi nikapatana na Masai Lynn, a very rich guy, but uneducated. And people underestimate education. Unajua education inafanya hold a conversation in a way that I'm not judging you, you're not judging me. But ilikuwa inaenda poa for a few months until now we got serious to a place of introduction. And now nilikuambia familia ilikuwa imeanza kurudi kidogo. So I knew hata nikipata mtu nampeleka wapi? Home. So me one day tuka agree, tufanye ka shopping kadogo niende nikuintroduce kwa shosho yangu. So tukaenda kwa shosho yangu. This guy was driving a RAV4. His car. Nikwambia nilikuwa nimepanda. So tukaingia and shusha yangu akatuenga kama this is the guy nini ni rafiki yangu. Ukienda home useme mtu ni rafiki yako. Everybody knows what is happening. So one day auntie yangu, one of my aunts alikuwa amepata green card anaenda kufanya kazi majuu. So there was a farewell party. Shusha yangu akanipigia. This guy alikuwa na very big lands, hundreds and hundreds of acres of land, alikuwa anakomboesha watu. So we had told that information to my shusho. So akanipigia simu akaniambia Lydia, so and so ana travel anaenda majuu, tunamfanyia farewell party na iko nauliza kama unauza rafiki yako kama anaweza tupatia minji, carrots, cabbages, viazi, because that guy alikuwa kwa Narok, Mount Narok, kwenye hizi vitu zote zinatoka hizi chakula. Nikamwambia so and so fanya hivi, chukua gunia waru minji, gunia waru, gunia minji, gunia carrots na cabbages kama 20, weka kwa boot, pelekea shosho. This guy used his money. Hakuna hata shilingi moja, hata mpaka inaitwa nini fuel akapeleka. So when he was taking the things, mimi nilikuwa kazi. Singetoka job na nilikuwa najua tu nikupeleka. So he met some of my aunts. Wakuta guy alipewa maneno. Venye Lydia ni mwizi. Venye atakurudisha nyuma. Venye umejieka na yeye. You see all this thing you have built for yourself. Utapoteza zote. Lydia is not the type of the someone you can be with. Alipewa maneno. And I told you this guy is not educated. But the good thing alikuja akaniambia, hey, nimekuta watu wenyu wameniambia hivi na hivi na hivi. The way sasa ni history, ile bad history. So we started quarreling. Every time tukikoro, wewe hata niliambiwa uwezi ishi na watu. Wewe hata niliambiwa utanirudisha nyuma. So he's using those words against me in an argument enye ni yetu wawili. So I was like hapana. Sasa hii situation imeharibika. Nikamwambia no, haiwezi. Sitasema haiwezi because I resigned work because of him later on. Tulikuwa tuna argue but tunatoka relationship 1 week tunarudi. Lynn, guess what? Mimi nikaanza kukua absent from work. Si nimepata like nimefanya wiki moja niko na like 20k tips. I want to go to work. So nikaanza kukua na cases at work. Siku moja tukavurugana na manager na nikampiga. Akina kuanga na hasira mbaya but siku hizi hakuna. So kulikuwa na hearing at the ABC place main office ya Java. Kulikuwa na hearing and I didn't show up. Mimi nikapack nguo zangu nikaenda kuolewa with the guy. Maunaro kuko ndani nakwambia, from the main road to that guy's home kwa mama yake hata si kwake. Ndio pande pikipiki ni 800. From the main road kwenye maybe stage kwenye utapata kamat ka center ni 800. So ni maunaro kuko ndani. My friend tulikuwa nafanya naye kazi, alikuwa jiko, yeye alikuwa chef, mimi nilikuwa waitress. Akaniambia, Lydia, you are making a mistake. Nikamwambia hapana, mimi hata hii kazi imenibo, hata nimepata mtu ako na pesa, hata nipe hizo mashamba nilime. Si alikuwa anazikomboesha kwa Wakikuyu wengine huko ndani. Wanaume, hata mimi hata nipea nilime tupate do. Lynn, nikaacha kazi within a month. Mtu immediately I had some savings. Java pia kuna sako. Staff sako, you save money. Si sasa after sijarudi kazi, wakanivuta kazi and they released my funds to me. I had around 150k savings. This guy all of a sudden sijui gari inafaa kureplacewa nini, sijui mguu, sijui nini. Within 2 weeks sikuwa hata na shilingi Lynn. And then sasa nimeacha ushago. This guy would disappear and like for a week or 2 na harudi. Mimi nikapigia my friend kamwambia, Mama Enoch, nimepotea. Hata nilimuona kwa comment section ya from the previous video. Mimi kama nilipotea njia, nitafanya nini? Kaambia tufanye nini Lydia? Nikamwambia fanya aje because huku mkonye mimi ameniacha. Hata upige nduru usiku, Lynn, something happens to you, nobody will hear you. Like the next jirani ya kwa kilometer away because ni mashamba. Ni mashamba, the whole area ni shamba. So Mama Enoch akantumia 1500. Pikipiki sinishajua ni 800. Nifike kwa main stage nichukue gari ya 250, I think 300. So nikienda tu kuchomoka, siku yenye nachomoka hivi Lynn, this guy appears. Alitukimbiza na pikipiki. So this guy ananiambia bahati yako iko. Akimi bahati ndio akunanga. But sahi iko. Sahi iko. So mimi tumetoroka na mtu wa pikipiki. This guy all of a sudden appears na mekanyo aja kuja for like 2 weeks. Nikamwambia mtu wa pikipiki, tafadhali nitakuongezea 200, nitakupea 1000. Usikubali mtu atufikie. Thank God nilipata mat ikija imebakisha watu wawili. Nikamwambia huyo mtu nitalipia both seats, twende. And hivyo ndivyo nilitokanga huko. Nikarudi Nakuru. Sasa ile nyumba yangu yenye niliacha ikiwa fully furnished ndio ni Mama Enoch alikuwa ameshiftia in because she was not okay because pia alikuwa na watoto wawili na alikuwa ametoka kwa bwana yake. So mimi nilimwachia nyumba yangu yote na kila kitu. So tunakaa bed sitter, 2 big women and 2 children na house girl wake. So eventually kabidi ame get rid of the house girl. Mimi nikajua sasa hakuna kazi Lynn, nikafungua kibanda ya chipo, nikafungua biashara. I've always been a business woman. Nikafungua, mama jirani alikuwa na uzanga fish but akafunga. So alikuwa na karai, alikuwa na hiyo kibanda. Nikamwambia so nikomboeshe kibanda na unipe ile karai yake. So I used to give her 100 shillings per day kwa kutumia kibanda na karai ya chipo ama ndio ya samaki. But mimi nilikuwa natumia kwa chipo. Eventually nikaanza ku-apply jobs. Kwanza ku-apply jobs hazipatikani. When I was dating that guy, at some point tulikuwa tumekuja Nairobi kuona sister yake and I had met a lady there kwa boma ya sister yake, kwa hiyo nyumba ya sister yake, and we had exchanged contacts. So siku moja nikashindwa nitafanya nini. Kazi ya na hoteli patikani Nakuru. Sasa Nakuru apart from Java, then it is 2014 2015 hakukuwa na mahoteli. So na mimi natafuta ati standard ya Java, juu jinga ni mbaya. ati sasa natafuta mini standard ya work Java, so I cannot work these small places. So nikampigia huyo nikamwambia aje sasa ni Lydia, nilikuwa nauliza na kuja interview. I had been called for an interview place ingine ito Caldis. Nauliza can I come nilale kwako kesho niende interview. Akaniambia yes, no problem. Mimi nikakuja Nairobi, nikafunga kibandangu nikakuja Nairobi. Kuja Nairobi nikaenda interview. Before now the place I got job sikupata. Do you know this lady housed me for more than a year?
Wow.
Nikitafuta kazi yeye na bwana yake na kona watoto wangapi?
Wawili.
Hata sasa bado hii kwa simu nimemsave mom. That woman is my saving grace. Yeye ndiye alifanya nikuje Nairobi. Nikatafuta job na nikapata na nika move on. I think that's why I'm still on Thika Road.
Yes.
And that's how my life picked up, Lynn, and it has never gone back. Nikapata makazi mzuri, nimework restaurants mbili, apart from Java, so ni 3. Nikaanza kazi last 2021. Nikakoniwa na rafiki akaniita, mtu tulikuwa nasoma na yeye, someone I had known for 10 years. Akanikon savings zangu zote tutuweke biashara ya duka electronics. The same work I'm doing right now. Kaniambia yeye tutengeneze website nini, tutishange mzigo China nini savings zangu zote zikaenda. But now the guy really helped me. Just niliacha kuandika kazi na I didn't give up, Lynn. Nika seek help from another friend, akaniweka kwa duka yake, tukashare rent kidogo. Pia yeye akachoka na mimi. My sister na yeye pia job ikaribika because of corona. Njeri. Akahama Eldoret, sasa anaishi Naivasha. But good thing tumenunua kashamba Gilgit, tunataka kujenga kidogo. Because yeye unajua yako na bwana na watoto. So wakauza shamba walikuwa nao Kitale, samani wakanipea, mimi nikaeka duka yangu electronics yenye niko nayo up to now.
And that's it. That's you.
In
a nutshell.
Kuna vitu mingi lakini hizo wanifuate kwa social media. Wasikie with time.
And your brother, you've never heard from him?
No. We've never. Tunajaribungu Lynn. We don't have even a picture. My sister nearly hear from him last, I think 2011. He had come from, alikuwa ameshikwa industrial area. Akampigianga, akujia mtoe. Sister yangu akakuja na akamtoa. And they went to Eldoret, but after a week tena akadisappear. Now from then hajaimuona tena. So na yeye before hata anitafuta alikuwa amemtafuta yeye wa kwanza. Ameenda jela zote kumtafuta, apatikani. You know when someone called you last akiwa hii area, maybe unadhani that is the line you'll take. But apatikani, Lynn. But atatupata. Tuseta sister yangu alitembea njia na akanipata.
Kaiwoye. How have you dealt with all this?
I don't know. Mimi bujua hata sijaenda therapy. But Lynn, I'm the type that will research information. After for the content creation, the content I'm doing, Lynn, me I travel through people. Si juzi ulikuwa UK, me I've traveled through you. Si Murugi Munya ametoka UK, I've traveled. Sasa hii niulize London wapi sijui. People go to Cape Town, people go to Dubai.
You've traveled now.
Now that's how I travel. That's the only way I can expose myself before I'm able to do it physically. So I'm the type that relaxing juicina. I research on information. So I listen to things on YouTube. I Google, why am I feeling like this? Do this and this, you stop feeling. Hivyo tu. And then again, pia nimekuambia, I think Mungu amenisaidia, amenipea the grace not to withhold things in my heart. I don't have that heart. These people I'm talking about, despite the things they have done to me, I don't hate them. It's just that me and them cannot associate in any way. Na kuna time shosho yangu alinitafuta akasema, not shosho yangu, her children.
Yeah.
One of them ako London. She has 3 now children in London. Mama wakubwa wako na mafamilia zao, but now they are based in London. One of them siku moja akaniandikia messenger hii ya Facebook. I hope you go we can see now you are really doing well. Sijui nini. I hope you go to tell Shosho thank you for raising you. I've never answered that message. Lynn, mimi nilisema hivi. I am not the one who seeked help from you. Si kwenye mutakutana na mwenye alikuomba msaada, mutaambiana asante. I don't owe anyone a thank you. And some of the things I deal with right now, Lynn, they are solely basically from the traumas that I got from the whole experience. So it's not like I'm okay 100%.
Yeah.
So we cannot associate like that. Lini hata ni kitu nifanyikie leo hii, like a good thing, sherehe nini, it's not a family that I would involve. Watanisikilianga tuko kwa mtandao, but no. Because even the cousins, my cousin inherited that tabia. I wanted to create a friendship between me and them when I came to Nairobi, because some of them schooled in Nairobi for their colleges and campuses. But I realized they also that mkimeet kuna venye wanakudiminish even by words nini bado uko chini. So I realized I'm an adult now. Yes. I can choose to be in this position or not.
You get to decide. You get to decide.
And I decided I don't want to be associated with them in any way.
How is work?
Work is good. Niko na duka electronics. I sell PlayStation, gaming consoles. I sell phones. Anything electronic, my fridge, my TV, No. Niko Ludhulu, ukitaka kitu yoyote, you just call me.
Yes.
Hata ostrich utapata.
Ostrich mnyama.
Hata kidney. Ludhulu si kunasemekana is the market for everything. Mtu anakuambia ngoja tu hapa nakuletea. But it's nice.
Yes. How do you think hizi vitu zote like zimekuwa faked na unaona moving forward? What are you looking forward into?
Number one, I want to, because also of my space, the one I'm creating right now, therapy is important, is equally as important as just talking about it.
Yes.
And separating my issues, my like that, separating myself from that kind of environment. And because me and my sister, we are putting in so much in ourselves to be better people and to create a healthy environment and a healthy background for our family that will come from both of us, we cannot afford to be held back by some of these things.
I love that. You cannot afford to be held back.
We don't have plan B.
Yes. Ni plan to
ni na Mungu.
How does content creation help you? Because you are such a vibe. Hey, Lydia, you are a vibe. How does that help you?
You know, Lynn, for the longest time, even people who know me from kitambo, when you tulikuwa nafanya nao kazi kitambo, nowadays they are like, we didn't know you could talk like this. We didn't know. Okay, people used to include me in arguments na conversations, but they, because of how I grew up, sikuanga na sauti. Lynn, mimi ni mtu ungesema, nani amevunja hiki kikombe? Instead of saying si mimi, nitakuangalia. And sina defense, sijui nitaisema aje. So for the longest time, I've always been shutted down until I realized, no, actually I have a voice and then I have a mind that captures. Unaona venye sikuwa nasomanga shule, but napita exam. I have a mind that captures information. I can be able to look at you and I get content from you.
Good.
I can be able to look at my environment
and get content
and get content and get information.
Yes.
And kwanza ni mimi kusoma yote nilikuwa nasoma nifanye criminology. Mimi ningepelekwa shule college, I would have done criminology because I think I'm able to read information or to get information from someone. So content creation inanisaidia sana to express what is in my heart and to express what is around me. And also I just want to create a space like my page where people can come and offload. You know, I realize nobody talks about orphans. Nobody talks about, now that you grew ABCD, how are you? What kind of an adult are you? How did you deal with what you went through? Hata ukiangalia YouTube or anywhere, hakuna story ya orphans. And you know, we have so many orphans. The number of orphans is high. But nobody kind of just looks into it. So I just want to create that space where people can come and offload. And also not in orphans only, even in relationships. Kumeharibika huku nje. Even in friendships.
Yes.
So it's a I want to create a space for people to offload.
And you are doing
because
a
that
good
is
job.
what I didn't get.
Yeah, and you are doing a good
Thank
job
you,
at it. Are you happy that the love you get is organic? Ilikupata tu?
Kwanza, I never thought I would be. I've always thought like I'll have voice, but I didn't know to what extent. And that the fact that people receive my content is what amazes me. Mi naeza kaa nipate tu hivi thought, nichukue simu yangu nijirecord na ni-upload. It is purely my thoughts. but people receive it with so much love and they relate. Kwanza unajua the fact that people relate. I'm like, oh, so I'm not living in an illusion. I'm not living in a fantasy world. It is what is happening.
It is what it is. What do you want to tell your people, the people that support you?
Asanteni sana watu wangu. Thank you so much. To build a community is not easy, especially as a content creator. Watu wanajaribu kubuild na inakata. But for you guys to receive me, to follow me, to always show me love, it is something that I'll never take for granted. And I want us to take it to the next level, especially on YouTube space.
Yes, go there.
Because Lynn Ngugi is my role model. So I'm going to copy her. So nikikopi msiseme umekopi.
I will be there supporting you. I will even come on your channel.
Amen.
I will come and support you because you are deserving.
And everything is ready by the way.
Everything is real, you know. I just say don't copy, be inspired by what someone else is doing and go and create your own space. Sindio? Show yetu ya round table si bado tunafanya. Natafuta one more person. I think tunafaa kufanya waine. I'm looking for 2 more people. Then I'll figure it out.
Please, I'll be honored.
Yes, then
we have a lot to
offload, you know? Yeah, but thank you, Lydia. How do you want people to remember you?
Oh, I want people to remember me as a person that actually made you rethink your life and try to unlearn and learn. Because most of the things that people do, especially in being an adult, it's because of the things you have been conditioned to. You have learned that as a woman you're supposed to be down, as a man you're supposed to be this, as someone who doesn't have a sense of belonging, you're supposed to, ukipatana na mtu hata kama anakutraumatize ama ni mtu anakuumiza, unafaa kuvumiliana. But no, I want when people come to my page, you feel like you can actually live a fulfilling life, a wholesome life. You can unlearn and learn new things that are going to make you be happy, be joyful, be peaceful. Because that is what the world needs right now, to unlearn and learn.
Good. To your brother, in case he comes across this, what would you want
please
to tell
come
him?
home. There's my number and my
Do you
social media.
give it?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'll give you my work number.
Yes, please.
Because you will always get me with my work number. My number is 0708 572 062. 0708 572 062. Call me anytime niko Nairobi. I have a beautiful home nimejijengea. Si kujenga hivi, but
that is also creating. Like you are creating a home for yourself.
So there is a space for him. There is na sistangu bado tunajenga kwa wake, tulinunua kashamba. Mungu ni mkubwa.
Amen.
So there is a space for him and even more people.
To those who did you wrong, what do you want them to know?
Let's maintain the distance.
Period.
Honestly, I've forgiven them. Yes. I have no hatred carried in me for them, towards them. But you told me and you reminded me every day that I don't belong in your family and I am not part of you. So it is that. So let's just maintain the distance.
It is.
Be well where you are. I wish you all the best. And I'm okay here.
Yeah. But it is what it is.
It is what it is.
All right. Thank you, Lydia. Do you want to add anything before we wind up? And also wakumbushe where they can find you.
Oh. I think sometimes we are conditioned to owe people a thank you. But the people you owe a thank you can be a point of trauma for you. Sometimes you just have to take the highway and never look back. So it's not that I'm ungrateful. I am grateful because whatever I went through, it has set me up in a way that I can't imagine. And it is because of all those experiences that I am who I am today. So thank you so much for those people who follow me, for those who listen to me. I'm on my social media. You can follow me on my social medias. Instagram, TikTok, lydiawanjiru.ke. And my upcoming YouTube channel from next week we're starting to have content. It's Get Naked with Lydia. Na watu wako wamekuja. Na naked means vulnerable.
No, they know that. They know that.
Okay.
They know that.
Do wanasikianga naked wanashanga?
No, my people know naked is vulnerable.
Oh, yeah, it's vulnerable and authentic.
Here we keep it real, vulnerable and authentic.
Thank you.
Yeah, so they'll come through. I love the name. Get Naked with Lydia. That's a good name.
Because we need to offload. We need to get naked.
May I appreciate you. Thank you for taking your time, and as I've always told you, even off camera, you are destined for greatness.
You normally say it a lot of time. People don't know tunaongeanga kidogo.
No, but you are destined for greatness. Lydia, content creation, you've got it. So go out there.
Thank you.
Unapologetically.
Thank you.
Become the true version of yourself. And I love that you're doing the inner work. And I love that my people love you. They can feel your energy. They know you are real. They know you are not trying to be something that you're not. So go out there and create and create and create. May you stop traveling through us. May you travel also. May you be, yes, may you go to UK, may you go to Cape Town, may you go wherever. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, may your day come.
Amen.
May your doors open.
Amen.
May your doors, I am telling you, from one content creator to another, when I see magic, I know it, and you have it in you. Now see stop.
Thank you.
Now see stop. To some of us, it's a full-time job, and we love it here. And we love it here. Tumalize. All right, asante sana.
Karibu.
Even for taking time off your crazy Luthuli schedule and coming through. Mintakujia TV ya boardroom. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, I ask, what has been your take home from today's conversation? There's a reason we cut ties with people. And if there's one thing I'm learning is be unapologetic. By the way, your peace of mind also means a lot. And just because we've interacted before does not warrant that we have a future together. If people cross you, if people take you for granted, if people take your weakness, your kindness for weakness, cut ties. Stop being apologetic about these things. We are living in a world where your peace of mind does not seem important because you want to please other people and they continue stepping on you, stepping on you, stepping on you. I don't do that. I no longer do that, honestly, and I'm not apologetic about it. So let me know what your take home from Lydia's conversation is. And as you do that, you know how we do it on this platform. Go and subscribe to her channel. How many subscribers do you have?
2,100.
Let's get her to 10K, my people. Just go and subscribe to her channel. I will be here marketing her channel as if she's paid me, because I know from one content creator to another, there's a lot of future in Lydia. So let's be among the first people that are going to elevate her and that are going to support her. Tusigoje afike 10K ndio tuseme, oh yeah, just go and do it right now. It doesn't take much. Subscribe, leave a comment for her, and let's support her even as she starts putting content on her profile. Thank you so much for watching, and as always I say, if you want to share your story with me, info@lnn.digital or lynn.ngugi@lnn.digital. That's where you can be able to find me. And of course, to thank my incredible team, Edgar, Scholar, Muga, and of course Kelv and Sam for compiling this episode, making sure it reaches you guys right on time. Situonane kesho at 10 AM. Be blessed. Bye bye.